So we'll go ahead and get started. This is Make a Website course with Codecademy. We're in the Building with Bootstrap section. I will try to zoom in a little bit on here. I will be checking back and forth with the chat for you guys if you guys are typing stuff. Okay, so we're good so far. So actually I'm going to zoom out and then I'll just zoom in using this. So connecting to Bootstrap. Before Bootstrap can work for us, we need to link to it. In earlier lessons, we linked only to main.css. Now, in addition to main.css, we'll link to a URL that hosts Bootstrap. The HTML link element makes Bootstrap available to us. Remember that the link element is typically contained within HTML tags, or the head tags. So we see here we have our head tag, and then inside of there they add this link, which actually links to the CDN that hosts Bootstrap. You could also download Bootstrap locally and then just add it into your folder structure and link to it here. The easiest way is just finding a CDN, grabbing their URL, and linking to it in your link tag. And like it said, putting it in the head tag is usually where you'll see it. So above the href attribute is set to the URL, this URL here, which is basically that Bootstrap file. So let's explore what Bootstrap can do for us. So notice the Skill Fair webpage to the right and locate the diagonal arrows in the top right corner of the web browser. Click the arrows to toggle the web browser between narrow and full width views and observe the following. So we got to observe that navbar items do not change position as you toggle the web page width. The homemade goods text appears on the far left side of the web page. Photographs increase in size when the web browser is toggled to full width. And social media icons at the bottom of the web page appear disorganized. Click Run after you've observed those points. So if we zoom out of here, if I click this to expand, we have our page here. So those social media icons are kind of disorganized just a bit. So let's continue. Okay. Click Run after you've observed this. So we'll click Run. Now we will connect to Bootstrap and see changes to the web page layout. In index.html, locate the head element inside the head, create a link element to link to Bootstrap. So if we go here, this is our HTML file, and in our head, which is here, so we can just put it in here. We want to do a link with relationship style sheet. We also want an href, and that's where we're going to add this link here. Copy that. We want to go ahead and paste it and then add, gotta do, okay, href equals, and there it is. So if we go back and I just zoom in here, so there's our href. Let's see, we want to close it out. Oh yeah, I forgot to close it here. Okay, so now we have this link linking to Bootstrap. Let's see if we did everything right. We should see our page change. So click Run, Toggle the web browser's width again to notice the following changes. Navbar items change position based on the web page width. The homemade goods text is now centered. Kitchen woodwork antique and gifts photographs are arranged 2 per row when the page is full width, and 4 social media icons are organized. So let's check this out. We'll click that expand button here, so we can see the changes like it says in the nav bar. Let's look at those social media icons. So they still look kind of crooked. Let me see if I did this right. Oh, we never ran it. I don't think we ran it. Now we ran it. Now we got this in the middle here, got a nav bar over here. Now we're seeing them 2 per row, and now these look real nice and organized. So what a big difference. And this is all just using pretty much pre-written styles that Bootstrap comes included with. And I'm sure as we keep going through here, we'll have better explanations. So right now, let me just do this. I think that was all for this first part. Yes, let's go next. So let me check you guys if you guys are saying anything. Yep, so you guys are good. Okay. On the grid, one of the reasons Bootstrap and frameworks like it are so popular is because they offer grids, and this really is the most important part. We got our grid system. A grid makes it possible to organize HTML elements using pre-configured columns. Using a grid, you can customize responsive page layouts quickly and reliably. In Bootstrap, grid contains 12 equal-sized columns, as seen in the diagram on the right. HTML elements are arranged to span different numbers of columns in order to create custom page layouts. So in the diagram, observe the following. Bootstrap grid columns are represented by 12 vertical bars. The boxes represent HTML elements. And that's what it's saying here. We got these columns, and there should be 12 of them spread across. If we counted them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those are the 12 columns. The words container, Jumbotron, column small 6, and column small 3 refer to Bootstrap classes. So this is that pre-written code I was talking about. They already have a class for container, for Jumbotron, for column small 6, and you just call these classes in your elements, and you would have access to them, to the styling. So the element with class Jumbotron spans the entire width of the web page beyond the borders of the grid. So here we got Jumbotron, and we see it spreads all the way out here to outside of the grid. Elements inside the second container, such as column small 6 and column small 3, are contained within the grid columns. So we have our container, and that spreads, like it says here, they're contained within the grid. So container is contained within our grid. Within container, we have column small 6 and column small 3. Elements inside the second container, such as column small 6 and column small 3, are contained within the grid columns. So they're also within here since they're within the container. 5 elements labeled column small 3 take up 3 grid columns. Elements labeled column small 6 take up 6 grid columns. Yeah, so here we see our column small 3 takes up 3, 3, 3, and they're all inside this container, so they take 3, 3, 3, 3. And inside this container also, the 6 would take 6 and 6. they all add up to 12. So it's really important once you could think of this grid system in your head, it's real easy to start positioning things inside your website and organize it good. So I think they just really want us to familiarize ourselves with this layout. Again, it's very important to just be able to visualize everything in containers, Jumbotrons, and whatnot. So let's go next. I will see again the chat. We're still good. Okay. Header/navigation. Let's use Bootstrap's Grid to create a simple header with navbar. In the example code below, an HTML header element with Bootstrap's predefined container class is used. So here they create a header with a class of container. Inside the header, a row is created by using a div with Bootstrap's row classes. So here we have our header, and inside we put a div with class row. So picture this, we have our container, and inside that container we're going to have a row. Finally, the row is cut into parts. So inside our row we're going to create a column that's four columns, actually, that takes up 4 columns. Then we have a nav, which takes up 8 columns. We see these add up to 12. So we should see a row with H1 taking up 4, that says heading, 4 columns, and then a nav that takes up 8, that's pushed to the right with nav item 1, 2, and 3. So this will be easier to see once we see it over here. But the first part consists of the H1 with Bootstrap's class, column small 4. It will take up the first 4 columns on the grid. The second part consists of the nav element with class, column small 8. It will take up the remaining 8 grid columns. Text right indicates the text will be arranged to the right side of the nav. So inside index HTML, on the line below the opening body, create a header element with Bootstrap's container class. So like it said, below opening body, which is here, we want to just simply do a header. It's going to have a class container. Okay, we're going to do closing of our header, and in here we're just doing a ... We'll click run to continue. And we could see our ... here on the page. So next, inside the opening header class container tag, create a div with the Bootstrap class row. So now we do a div class equal to row. Close this. Okay, we'll run that. Okay, we're not seeing anything because there's no content within it yet. Now we'll cut the row into 2 parts. The first part inside the div class row tag, create an H1 with Bootstrap's class column small 4. The content for the H1 will be the company name. You can use Skillfair. So we're in our row. We're creating an H1. This H1, we want it to have class equal column small 4. We'll call it Skillfair. Close it off. We'll run the results. So we should see this taking up 4 columns. We run it. Here's our 4. Now for the second part of the row, 1 line below the H1 element, create a nav element with Bootstrap's class, column small 8 text right. So here we are. Under our H1, we simply want a nav class equal column small 8 text right. Close this. Now we zoom out, we run it. We still don't see anything because we don't have content inside it. But finally, inside the opening nav class column small a, create 3 p elements. So we have our nav. Here we want to create 3 p elements. We can copy them, paste it 3 times. We're going to do newest catalog, and then contact. Zoom out, run, and as we can see, if I make this wide, these are pushed to the right. We got skill fair on our left. Separated is 4 columns, and then this is 8 columns. So it goes all here. But since we're pushing it the text right, we see it lined up here. Okay. So if I click next, let's just make sure everyone's good here. We're still good. So the Jumbotron. In addition to a header/navigation, many websites have a large showcase area featuring important content. Bootstrap refers to this as a Jumbotron. Below is an example implementation of a Jumbotron. So here there's a section, we give it class Jumbotron. First, a new section element is created and assigned the Jumbotron class, which is done here. Next, a div with the Bootstrap class containers used. So section class Jumbotron, inside of there we have div with class container. A div with the Bootstrap class row text center can center subsequent child elements which will contain text. So we have section class Jumbotron, div class container. Within our container we have div class row text center. The ... is a placeholder for HTML elements containing text such as h2, p, or anchor elements. Let's explore the Jumbotron feature by creating our own below. In index.html, one line below the closing header. So we got our header here. The closing of it's there. They want us to simply do a section under that header. And let's close it. Section. Let's go inside it. Give it a class equal to Jumbotron. So this should create our Jumbotron. Let's run this. So we have our picture to show up nicely there. Inside the opening section class equal Jumbotron tag, create a div with the container class. So we have our section, and inside of it we want to do a div class equal container. Close it. We should click run. There won't be a visual change because there's nothing in that div. So we run this, pass. To center text over the Jumbotron image, create another div inside the container div. Give the new div class of row text center. So like it says, inside of our container, we're going to do div class equals row text center. Close this div off. Okay, let's see what we get. Run. We get our ... somewhere in there, really small. Finally, add heading and anchor elements to the row. So in here, the anchor element will have Bootstrap's button and button primary class, which will transform it into a button. So we have our row area here. In it, we want an H2 that says homemade goods. H2, H3, this year's best, and an anchor with class equal to button button primary, and then an href that is a dead link, doesn't go anywhere, and role is going to be button, close it, see all, and then close anchor. So click run to see the elements entered. If you'd like to replace text between H2, H3, and A with your text of choice, if you'd like to, you could do that. The anchor elements href attribute is a placeholder for an actual URL, so we can put anything in that href like google.com and it will go to google.com. But let's just run this. We got our homemade goods with our button. It doesn't go anywhere because it's just a dead link. So since if we wanted to, we could easily change this href to something like google.com. Google.com. Run it again. I should be able now to go to google.com here. Probably should have put www. Where is it? Maybe I just can't go from Codecademy here. But anyways, that's how you would add a link to a different page. Let's just go next. So supporting content, let me actually look one time. Everyone's good, okay. So supporting content, many websites have supporting content area. Supporting content can be arranged using Bootstrap's Grid. Below is an example implementation of a supporting content area. First, an HTML section element with the container class is used. So section class equals container. Next, a div element with the row class are added. So same thing, we have a container, inside there we have our row. Finally, the rows are divided. So once you have rows, you could divide, the rows are divided by using divs with Bootstrap's column small class. So you have your row, and inside that row, we're going to create a div with column small 6. Then also we're going to have a div. Okay, so you have a column small, and then you have 2. So within your first row, you have 2 divs, each taking up half the columns, 6 on one and 6 on the other one. Next, we have another row, and this row also has 2 columns. So above, 2 rows are divided into 2 equal parts. Each part takes up 6 of Bootstrap's 12 columns using column small 6. Class ensures that this layout will appear when the user screen is width of a tablet device. On narrower screens, such as an iPhone, only 1 image per row will appear. Let's create supporting content area for our web page. So in index.html, 1 line below the closing section tag of the Jumbotron, start building a supporting content section. So we have this closing section. We're creating a new section with class equal to container. Close that. Close this. Let's run this one time. Okay, so inside of the opening section class container, create 2 divs with the Bootstrap class equal to row. So we have our new container here, and in it we want to do a div class equal to row, and then we close that first one, and then right under it we want another div class equal to row, close that, okay, so we have our 2 divs now with rows, or with a class row. So we pass that. Next, we're going to, inside of the row, create 2 figure elements with the Bootstrap class column small 6. So we go into our row here, and we just want it to really look like this other one. So we have our row here, we're going in it, and we're going to do a figure class equals column small 6. Let me zoom out a bit. Okay, so we did our first figure. Let's close it, and then close figure. And then we're going to do basically the exact, oh shoot, like this. Well, I don't know how to. I was trying to just copy. Okay, I'm trying to do this the easy way, but it's not helping, and I'm highlighting the wrong one. So we got figure. I just want 2 of these. So they're both inside my first row. And then inside this second row, I'm going to want to do the exact same thing. So here's a figure. And here's another one. So now we got 2 rows, and both these rows have 2 figures. So let's try to run that. We did pass. We don't see anything yet because we haven't put content in it. But now, finally, inside each figure, add 2 additional elements. 1, a P element that contains one of the following categories: kitchen, woodwork, gifts, antiques. For example, P kitchen. So inside each figure, here's the first figure. We're going in it. We're doing a P element that contains, we'll do kitchen, close it. Then we'll go into our second figure, do a P of woodwork, and go into these 2 other figures. Just copy this, go like that. We'll change gifts and antiques. Okay, we'll zoom out. And okay, finally inside each, add 2 additional elements. So in each figure we need 2. Oh, I still need the image. Okay, so we're doing image. I want to say it was it source or href? I'll say source. I'm going to try this out real quick. We'll copy that there. We'll paste that in there. We'll close off our image. See if this one of them works. So it was source. So let's do this to all of them. So we have our figure, our P. Okay. So our first figure has kitchen, and then that first picture, this one will be a second, and this is for the woodwork. So here we can do also image, and then V, or paste, and then just close it. But this needs to be a string that's inside of source. Okay, so that's 2 of them. Let me just copy. No, it's going to be too hard. So we'll go into this next P and do an image. That's what I need to do. And then here source equals. And then let me copy this one. Okay, and then an image. I think it would need the 3rd picture. Control C. V, and then the last one will go here, Control V. Oops. I'm gonna copy this, go here, do my last image, source equals, paste that in there, close it. So now we should pass. We did pass, and we got all our pictures. They show up one at a time when it's small. When it's bigger, they come two at a time. So let's go next. The footers, we're almost done. Now we're just doing, I think, the social links. No questions, cool. So footers. Congratulations, you've made it to the bottom of the web page, the footer. Footers display copyright information, social media links, and sometimes site navigation. Below is one possible implementation for a footer section using Bootstrap. First, a footer element with Bootstrap's container class is used. So we have a footer, class container. Inside of the footer, a div with Bootstrap's row class is added to hold footer content. So footer, class container, inside we have a class row. Finally, the row is divided into parts using Bootstrap's Grid. Here's a suggestion. We have our footer. That's basically our container. Inside of our container, we have a row. Inside that row, we have a paragraph that's 4 columns. Then we have a UL class column 8, and those ULs are class column small 1. So above, the row is broken into 3 parts. A P element that takes up 4 columns, a UL which takes up 8 columns, and LI items which take up 1 column each. The LI could hold navigation menu items or social media icons. Again, because the column small class is used, this layout will appear on tablet width screens and wider. Screen size is smaller than the tablet width will not maintain this layout. So let's create a footer below the supporting content closing section tag. Create a footer element with the Bootstrap class container. Let's go down here. We're going to make a footer class equals container. Close it here. Okay. Click run. Pass the first one. Beneath the opening footer class container tag, create a div with the Bootstrap class row. So back to our footer here. Div class equals row. We'll close this, run it. Next, divide the row using Bootstrap's Grid. So inside our footer, we got this row. We want to actually put a P element with class equal column small 4 ... And let's just copy that, paste. This is UL. Okay, our UL is going to have this ... Can erase that. And then let's click run again. Right now we still shouldn't see nothing at the bottom. If we run this, we did something wrong. Column, oh, this needs to be 8. Let's run it. Now we're good. So between the P class, column small 4, and closing P, add the website copyright. So here, ampersand copy. And like it says here, this is a character code which web browsers interpret as a copyright symbol. I think it's called like an entity. If you guys want to look into there online for more entities and how to make cool little symbols, you guys can check that out. But that's how we would make a copyright symbol. And we just put that there. I think I need that, and then 2016 skill fair. So if I run this now, we'll be able to look down here and see our copyright. So between UL class column small a and UL create 4 li items, each will have the class column small 1. Close this, make an li class equal column small 1, close it, ... and then close li. We'll copy this. Okay. Control V, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Control V. I don't think they really. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's run that. Past it. And down here we got our little dots that you can hardly see, but they are somewhere here. Oh, there they are. Okay, let's see what else. Finally, inside each li class, column small 1, add an image element that links to a social media icon. Okay, so each li class, they want us to add an image that links to, so we do image source equals why is that happening? Let's just try to give it an image. Control C. Go here. Okay, so that's what was needed. And then here we just do the same. Oh, I'll just make this faster by copying the image. So here's the image source, and that's the second one. It's 3 and 4. So get this image, copy it, put it there. Close. Now the last one. Okay, go here, paste it, and then just need that. Okay, so that should fill this, run that. Okay, we go to the bottom, now we have our social media icons. So I'm thinking this is pretty much it. This next is just review. Congratulations, you completed Make a Website. You've learned a new skill and should be proud. Okay, got it. Let's just read some of this review stuff. So Bootstrap, you've just built an impressive web page using Bootstrap CSS Framework. Nice work. Let's take a moment to review the core concepts you've learned in this lesson. Web concepts. CSS Framework. Set of pre-written CSS rules designed to help you build web pages faster. Bootstrap Grid, 12 equal-sized columns, which can be utilized via Bootstrap classes to build responsive web page layouts quickly and reliably. Bootstrap classes, row arranges HTML elements in rows and can be useful when building headers, navigation menus, main features sections, supporting content sections, and footers. Jumbotron used to create large showcase sections featuring important content. column small and then asterisk used to span a specified number of columns of the Bootstrap grid. The small is short for small and maintains desired CSS layout on small screen tablet size. Text right. Bootstrap classes used to orient text to the right side of the web page. And button primary. Bootstrap class used to style page elements as buttons. So that was make a website. If you guys barely tuned in now, you guys can also check my recent videos. There should be 2 other videos that go with this course, and it is the Make a Website course from codecademy.com if you guys want to check that out. But let's see the chat now. Still no questions. It was fun doing this for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys ever have any questions, you guys could go ahead and send me like messages or anything like that, and I'll answer you guys back as soon as possible. Just keep coding, guys. Keep going at it. It gets pretty hard sometimes and difficult and frustrating, but it's one of the most satisfying things I've ever done. So just keep pushing, keep going at it, and I'll see you guys next time.